it's getting crazier and crazier out here, man. Are y'all starting to get numb to it? I don't know if I can ever get numb to seeing a title that says tortured young girl, right? We got a quadruple murder suspect, tortured young girl, and showed no remorse for the killings. So I'm definitely anxious to hear what Sheriff Judd got to say about this one, man. All right, so if you're new to the channel, man, hit the subscribe button. Join the fam. Once you do that, moment of silence for the haters. That's enough. Now run the likes up, baby. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Let's go.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being with me today as we give you what we anticipate will be the last update about our mass murder that occurred on Sunday. Before I start, there's been a lot of interest in wanting to help the family, and quite frankly, the family needs help. As you know, an entire family was wiped out at one time. And we've got an 11-year-old that's at Tampa General, so we have hospital bills and everything that's related to that, as well as funeral bills, as well as 2 homes that have been destroyed. And to quote one of the uncles that's working closely with a family, I never had a class in high school to help me deal with this. As you can well imagine, that we have our crime victim teams working with the family, and there are 4 sites that have been set up, GoFundMe sites. One of those is a suspicious site. We are determining whether or not it's valid at this time. And GoFundMe is a business, so they have to have a percentage of the money in order to function and operate. If a lot of people will donate a little money and they'll send it to Polk Sheriff Charities, 100% of that donation, there is no administrative fee, 100% of that donation will go to the family. And when you hit the site, when you search up Polk Sheriff Charity, it'll also give you a drop-down box that will say quadruple homicide.
See, that's the scary thing right there, bro. When you send your money to help others, whether it be natural disasters or in this case murder, it's always a hesitancy because you don't know where your money going. And there's so many devious people out there in the world, man, that'll just say they're gonna put your money here and then do other things with it and everything but what you intended your money to go for. So that's why people are so hesitant nowadays, you know what I mean? And that sucks because people really need help. Trust me, I know I'm jaded.
However, any donations that come in will go, if you happen to drop it in the wrong box or put it in a general box, all of those donations will go to the family. So 100%. So before I start and give you the update, I wanted to make sure that I did that, because once again, we have a family that is going through a horror right now that no one should ever have to go through. But I wanted to update you, as I told you that I would. The big question has been, what's the nexus? How did this evil person by the name of Riley find these victims? And we think we have the solution to that. It hasn't changed in that there was no relationship between our victims and Riley. There was no relationship. Brian didn't know them in advance. But here's what happened. We found a witness who lives in the area of North Slocum Loop Road, and he said that he was talking to Brian Riley, he knows him, and Riley told him, hey, I'm going to go out with the Hurricane Ida relief assistance, and I offered to make him up a first aid kit. And we were working together, and he said, great. Now, I said, come by the house and I'll give you the first aid kit. Well, we can document that mass murderer Riley was at his friend's house picking up the first aid kit at about 6:45 p.m. on Saturday. We can also document that he left there about 7:10 p.m. So about 25 minutes later, he left the friend's house. Just after 7:10 p.m., understanding that we got the call of a suspicious person and vehicle at 7:22, sometime in that period, that's when Brian Riley stopped out in front and talked to Justice, who was mowing his yard, one of our homicide victims. And that's when he said, hey, God said that I need to talk to Amber because she's going to commit suicide. And Justice said, I don't know what you're talking about. There's no one here by the name of Amber. But old murderer Riley pressed on. No, I'm not leaving until I talk to Amber. And the guy says, hey dude, we don't know any Amber. So in the meantime, the mother-in-law is called out and said, who is also a homicide victim, and says, look, mister, we don't know who you are, but we can assure you there's no Amber here. Now, during this period of time where Justice is mowing the yard and our murder suspect stops, we also know by an interview with the 11-year-old little girl who's the victim at Tampa General, she was in the yard with her dad. So our murder suspect, Brian Riley, had the opportunity to see a little girl in the yard. So Justice left mad. Justice told him to leave. The mother-in-law said, you need to leave right now. We're going to call the cops. They notified law enforcement. He drove off. Mad, as we found out later. Never did Brian Riley make a threat. Never. He just wanted to talk to Amber because he thought she was going to commit suicide. Just a bizarre, irrational statement, but no threats of violence. Now we know, as I give you a compilation of interviews, that when our suspect Riley left, he was very angry. And he was very angry at Justice because he thought Justice had kept him from seeing this child, Amber, that was...
Who is Amber, bro? Like somebody he made up in his mind? What is this Amber? They told you clearly, we don't know no Amber, bro. But you so fixated in your mind that there's an Amber here that you got pissed and came back and shot them? Yo.
He's gonna commit suicide. And that's when Brian Riley, our suspect, our murder suspect, said, God told me to kill everyone and to rescue Amber because she's a victim of sex trafficking. So he goes home. He decides to put an ops plan together. In his confession, he says, well, you know what that means? It means you have to kill everyone. And I told you the other day how he arrived at home. He argued with his girlfriend of 4 years, but never mentioned violence. The girlfriend said, God doesn't talk to you in this way. He accused her of being a non-believer. He got angry. He went to his room. She went to bed. I explained that to you. And she woke up at 6:30 and he was gone. In the neighborhood, we have found a piece of video where at 1 o'clock...
Imagine how she feel when after all this went down. You know what I'm saying? Not just the victims' families and stuff. Imagine how she felt. Bro, she been laying next to a killer and possibly didn't even know it. Like, in my mind, you start thinking about every argument that y'all possibly had could have led to him killing you. That's crazy.
O'clock in the morning, he left his residence in that truck that we found at the scene, the black Ford pickup truck, F-150, with carrying a large shoulder bag, if you will, about 1 in the morning. So we wondered, where has he been between 1 in the morning and 4:22 in the morning? Well, here's a rendition, once again, of information that we were told based upon the interview with Brian Riley. He told us that when he left the residence, he went back to North Slocum Loop Road and he did reconnaissance. And I'm going to use terminology that he used. And the terminology that he used is from some of his training, some of his executive training, some of his security training. He said, I went back to do reconnaissance outside of the house in the moonlight. And he says, I'm not sure if he said that, but that was the beginning of his execution plan. He told us, and I'm going to read some snippets here, that he repositioned his truck 3 times so that he would have a fast departure. He searched through and spent time at the house to locate 3 entrance ports into the homes. He planned out his diversions and he prepared his exit strategy. He slashed the tires on both a sedan and the pickup truck he ultimately set on fire.
Trying to make sure nobody can get away or nothing, bro. This is crazy.
He set out the glow sticks from the road next to his vehicle, through the backyard, close to the next house. He explained that those were so he could find his way out in an emergency at night, and so if he found Amber, she could find her way to escape from this house.
Who is Amber? Who is Amber? I swear it better be an Amber. Who is Amber?
Where she was a sex crime victim. This is all fiction, all made up by him. Understand, and I underscore, when we make those references, there was no victims of sex crime in that house. He doused the vehicles with gasoline, both the sedan and the truck. He set the truck on fire as a diversion. He said, by the time I got back to the car, it wouldn't catch on fire, but the mission was underway and I had to push through. He took his breaching tools and he took them around back to the grandmother's apartment, and he tried the breaching tools without success on the door. So he left that door after shooting through the door, and he went around to the south side of the apartment, and he shot through the window and he entered. He called it clearing the house. I cleared the house, and that's when he killed the grandmother as he was clearing the house. He was clearing the house and looking for Amber. He said, I dumped a mag And what he meant was he shot a whole magazine toward the victim and getting into the house. He said, then I had to immediately reset. And this, once again, more tactical terms.
So he really had conviction in his mind. In his mind, because like he said, this is all fiction. He really had conviction that there was an Amber. Because for anybody to tactically move the way he's moving, set up the way he's set up, leave different things in place, he really had conviction, bro. For him to go in and say, I emptied a mag on somebody, like his mind, they need to, like, his brain, bro, autopsy, do all kind of research, look into it. Like, for him to create that and go through that and then do that and execute that, that's different. That's crazy.
I had to reset to start my methodical search for Amber in the main house. He entered the main house by shooting out or breaking out the back glass door. He said, I know I made a lot of noise, so I had to push through. I knew that they were now aware I was there. He says, I moved down into the fatal funnel, which was not just a fatal funnel, but it was also the hallway through the house. He said, but God told me I was protected. He said, I moved into the bedroom where I shot the dog 2 times. And they asked him, was the dog aggressive? And he said, no, it was very passive. The dog created no resistance at all. He said, then I cleared the hallway. And then I went to the bathroom and I shot through the bathroom door and I tried to push in. And they pushed back and I shot through the door some more. I then entered the bathroom where he shot and killed Justice. Justice was trying to keep him out. That was the resistance he was seeing on the other side. Once he killed Justice, he shot the 33-year-old significant other of Justice and the 3-month-old baby, killing them. But everyone was in the bathroom huddling and hiding. That's when he grabbed the 11-year-old victim, took her from the bathroom into the living room. And he asked her, where's Amber? She said, I'm not Amber. There is no Amber. And he said, I want to know who Amber is. And he counted down, 3, 2, 1, pow. And he shot her in the thigh area and the stomach. And she said, and I grabbed the wound. And he asked me again and shot me again. Then,
bro, he got a death penalty. What we waiting on? For you to do that, everything you've done so far, bro, and then do that to that little girl. Oh, you gotta get up out of here, fam. Yeah, lethal injection. How y'all want to do it? Electric chair. How y'all want to do it, bro? She's sitting there pleading with you, telling you there is no Amber. She's not Amber. Like, and you still proceeded to shoot her. Yeah, man. He need a few things done to him. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he don't need to just get out of here so easily. We need to drag his punishment out.
This evil human being told us, I tortured her in order to investigate. and find in order to find Amber. This is the big bad dude that tortured an 11-year-old child and murdered a 3-month-old baby, and the 3-month-old baby's mother and father.
He sounded like he looked like he was in service or somewhere, maybe Army, maybe, I'm not sure. But he probably got, that sounds like something to do with something that he went through, maybe overseas or something that gave him, that messed his mental up like that. You know what I mean? Still don't negate what he did. He still got to answer for what he did, fam. But that's where I'm thinking that he got these mental issues from.
And then this guy says to the 11-year-old, "Do you know why I killed your parents? They're sex traffickers."
What?
And then he said next, "I shot her in the legs. And then when she wouldn't tell me where Amber was, I eliminated her." He thought he'd killed her. But this 11-year-old was very brave and very smart. And she outthought him. Thank God. She said, "I played dead and I prayed."
Bro, that's crazy. For her to play dead after taking that many shots, that's, yeah. She is beyond brave and beyond a miracle, bro, and beyond smart. Like, for her to take that many shots, bro. Imagine yourself taking shots in pain and trying to tell yourself to stay still and play dead while you're going through this intense pain and everything from these bullets inside of you.
And that's the reason she's alive today. Before he shot her, thinking he'd killed her whenever she played dead, the suspect told us, "I asked God if a 12-year-old could be involved in sex trafficking, and God told me yes, and that's when I killed her." After that was when he had the shootout, the first shootout, and that one was with Lieutenant Tompkins, who came in the back door. And then he had more shootouts with our deputies as they arrived. We believe at this point in the investigation, and as I told you before, anything I tell you is subject to change by the time we finish the investigation, but this is the best information we have at this moment in time. We believe that during the subsequent shootout is when one of the deputies who was shooting one of our rifles shot him through the stomach. It was a side-to-side wound. It actually went through the vest he was wearing, but it did not enter the cavity. It just went through the exterior portion of his stomach and through the fat area. He immediately retreated back, of all places, to the baby's nursery, where you would think everyone would be safe and secure. And he started putting quick clot or material to stop the bleeding.
Yo, this dude prepared for even the shootout to take place for him to be shot. Again, I tell y'all, be careful. You know what I mean? And they didn't even know this dude. That's the crazy part about it.
After he did that, he told us, he said, "Well, I knew at that point I was outgunned and outmanned So I dumped my bulletproof vest and my guns, and I walked outside with my hands up and gave up. That's right, he didn't want to die. He didn't want to die. He consciously and intentionally decided, well, heck, they're all here now. They've engaged me once at the back door. They've shot me through the window. I better give up. He was a coward, an absolute coward. He looks like a man, but he's not a man. He's a sniveling coward. He was a big bad dude when he had 2 different firearms and broke into a grandmother's home and shot and murdered an unarmed grandmother. He was a bad dude when, armed with 3 firearms, went into this house and shot and killed a 3-month-old baby in the arms of its mother and executed the mother with multiple gunshots. When he killed and executed the father with multiple gunshots. He was a big bad dude when he took an 11-year-old child and shot her while trying to interrogate her to find Amber. He was a big bad guy. But then when he got shot by the good guys, he folds up. He drops his vest and his guns. He wants, when he exits the house, to make sure that we all know he's not armed. And our deputies did exactly as they should have. They took him into custody. We got him emergency medical help. Then he got to the hospital and tried to take one of the Lakeland police officers' guns. And they had to fight with him at the hospital. And
Yo, this dude here, fam. This dude here. And my thing is, he was prepared because he had a shootout, like he said, the first shootout with the cops. Wouldn't it, if you're going in your mind, because God told you to, if you're going to find Amber and the police show up, wouldn't you run out there to the police and say, hey, man, or wouldn't you have alerted them and let them know, hey, man, I think they're sex trafficking. Y'all need to get here quick. I'm on my way in. No, you shot at the cops, bro. So I'm starting to believe that you may have some, but you intentionally knew what you was doing. Stop trying to blame that on God.
then he confessed. He confessed to the horrible tragedy that he did on a Sunday morning. Here's what we know at this point in the investigation. Now understand, crime scene is still working, will not be finished today, probably tomorrow, maybe through the rest of the week. This is the most extensive single crime scene that we have worked that I can remember. It appears at this point in the investigation, 5 deputies shot that morning in response to this mass murder, and 1 Lakeland police officer. We shot approximately 59 times. We know that our mass murderer shot in excess of 100 times this particular morning. We know, based upon what we've found so far, we're starting to do background work by some of the detectives, that our suspect, as you already know, had 4 years in the Marines, 3 years in the reserves, a trip to Afghanistan and Iraq. He worked in executive and private security and was well thought of and was well trained. He has 16 separate certificates in security and tactical training. He was well trained. We know from a compilation of the information from the time he had that first communication with Justice, that he was seeking out Amber, who wanted to commit suicide, who is the victim of sex trafficking, and it was all a figment of his imagination. We've had the opportunity to interview the 11-year-old. I can't underscore enough her bravery. I can't underscore enough her ability to think through of how to survive when she has just witnessed her father, her baby brother, and her stepmother viciously murdered right before her very eyes.
It's gonna mess that kid up for life, bro. For life. He just ruined that kid. Not only is she shot several times, quote unquote tortured, now she has to live the rest of her life with that memory, that scene, that horrific scene playing out in her mind of her entire family getting killed. That's crazy. Even down to the infant.
We interviewed her, and she said, I was outside helping Dad do yard work on a Saturday afternoon. He was mowing. I went in the house as he was having a conversation with a man outside. And Dad told me later that he was looking for somebody by the name of Amber who this guy thought was going to commit suicide. She said, I was asleep in my bed when Dad woke me up and took me to the bathroom to hide me. And I was there when they killed my dad, my brother, and my stepmom. He then took me to the living room. I was trying to crouch down beside a cabinet and the toilet. And that's when he called me Amber, and I told him, I'm not Amber. And he said, 3, 2, 1, and he shot me. And I held the wound. And he asked me about Amber again, and I told him, I don't know an Amber, and he shot me again in the hand. And he asked me where Amber was, and he shot me again. And then he told me, do you know why I killed your parents? It's because they're sex traffickers. She says, I played dead and I prayed. We know that she's had 4 surgeries so far. She's in intensive care. She was able to give us a good statement, but she didn't even recall all the additional gunshot wounds she received at this initial interview. We know she has at least 7 bullet holes in her. And once again, because of her medical care, we don't know if it's 7 separate shots or if it's a total of 7 holes, and some of them may be in and out shots. She's shot in the hand, in the legs, in the thigh, and into the abdominal cavity. But she's alive. And how she survived that is truly a God thing. He thought he left her for dead, but she was way smarter than he was. And God truly was with that little girl that evening. You know, my editorial comment is, I know my God was pissed. That's not the God we know. But he gave God all the reason for him doing this. God told me to do it. God told me to do it. Well, I'm kind of like his girlfriend. No, God didn't tell you to do that. But he did it and blamed it on God. That's what we know now. We're still at the crime scene. We're still interviewing people. We have found other witnesses that knew he was going to the hurricane recovery. No one yet has told us they knew anything about any violence. No one said that. The investigation's ongoing. As you well know, the investigation is not near over, but now we're going to witnesses and friends and dotting the I's and crossing the T's, and this is going to go on for weeks and weeks and weeks as we prepare a case against this mass murderer, against this totally evil.
That sounds like when they being that thorough like that, and they trying to make sure, sounds like they crossing every T and dotting every I so they can be able to give him the death penalty. That's what that sounds like to me.
Person. Totally evil. Totally evil. There's not words to adequately describe the rage and that we all feel about what he did to this innocent family who's simply sleeping in their home.
Sound like he went through road rage, but roid rage, steroid rage. That's what it was.
And they happen to be the unfortunate ones that he passed by that afternoon where he saw the man and an 11-year-old girl. It could have been anybody's neighborhood that was out with their children that afternoon. These just happened to be the unfortunate people that he picked on. Now you kind of understand why I asked for a lot of people just to help a little bit, because what is remaining, an entire family with the exception of this 11-year-old child, is wiped out. And there's funeral bills and doctor's bills and all kinds of collateral issues that have to be dealt with. The family's doing the best they can. We are working with them, with our crime victims folks, but they can use help. Are there any questions I may answer them, or I may not? Yes, ma'am.
You had said that Riley said he was using meth. Have you found any evidence that he was using drugs?
Riley told on his way to the hospital to a Lakeland police officer, among his rambling statements, that he had used meth. That's his statements. We haven't gone back yet.
I'm not too familiar with meth. Does meth make people hallucinate and stuff like that? I might have to go back and look at what's my show with Heisenberg, Breaking Bad, and see if anybody had any like hallucination type side effects in that, or it just give me a reason to watch the show again. But I don't remember. I can't recall.
To see whether that's accurate or if that's some of his ramblings. We have found evidence of illegal steroid use.
Told y'all. I knew it. I keep saying road rage. Roid rage. That's what it was. Them roids, man. Them steroids, bro.
But obviously, we'll go back and serve subpoenas on the hospital and see what they found when he got there, and all of that's yet to be determined. But he admitted it. But we have found evidence of illegal drug use, steroids.
I just want to confirm, you said Riley shot through the back doors into the home?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
How many firearms were recovered at the scene?
We recovered 3 firearms at the scene.
Has it shown you remorse?
No, 0. 0 remorse. He's an evil human being. And I just can't get over how bad he was when he's wearing bulletproof garb with 3 guns in a house with innocent people trying to sleep at night, none of which had a gun. There were no guns in the house. They couldn't protect themselves if they wanted to. Yes, ma'am.
Initially, you was a disabled veteran. Did you guys find out that you were working with
That will be part of the investigations. We don't have any information at this time about medicines that he might have been on or should have been on.
Riley shot his weapon 100 times. Is that
100 plus times.
okay? That was total. Victims and law enforcement.
No. We know Riley shot 100 plus times, and we're still counting. We're still doing our forensics at the scene and our investigation. We know we shot approximately 59 times.
Jeez.
And I say approximately, there's a chance it might have been 60, there's a chance it might have been 58. That's still under investigation. We know he shot 100 plus times throughout the
Remember, he said he emptied a mag. Remember that.
evening.
And Riley's girlfriend confirmed she only noticed strange behavior days before the incident.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct. In our initial conversation with her, she's been his girlfriend for 4 years. She has been totally cooperative, had zero knowledge, according to what she's told us, of any bizarre behavior up until he did the security a week ago Sunday at the church, and he came back with this infatuation about being able to speak directly to God and God talked directly back. She said, I'd seen, slight depressions over the years, and even then, never has he been violent toward me or threatened violence. Even that week where she said, I saw bizarre conduct, no threats of violence, according to what she's told us. Yes, ma'am.
Do you all know if Riley went to that church as a security job or if that is the church he was going to?
No, he was sent there just as a security job, along with another individual who was his friend, who went as well. And in fact, that friend said, I was very pleased that he seemed to be developing a relationship, a religious relationship with God.
Do you all have any information from church?
We are still investigating that. We are not telling what church it is at this point in time because obviously we'd like to talk to the people before y'all do. Okay? Thank y'all very much. I appreciate it. Take care. Keep this.
Listen, man, you don't never want to hear nothing like that go down, bro. Entire family wiped out, little girl, only one left, and everything that she endured, bro, you never want to hear something like that, fam. And he has no remorse about anything he did. So in his mind, he's convinced himself that the girl he was looking for, that they were sex trafficking or whatever, that he needed to rescue her and he needed to kill all of them and do it. Now, I can't see him blaming that on meth or, you know what I'm saying? That totally be the roid rage, or it could have been a combination of everything happening at that point. The drugs, the roids, the church, all that may have compounded into something, man. But when have you ever heard a story like this, bro? Y'all be careful, fam. That's all be careful, watch yourself, protect yourself. Stranger comes up to you, accusing or looking, speeds off mad. Don't just brush it off, bro. Prepare yourself. Lock it down. Shut it down. And watch out for your family. All right, it's your boy L, man. Y'all get at me in the comment section. Let me know what y'all thought of this video, and stick around and stay tuned to the next reaction. I'm out. Peace, y'all. Stay silent. Hey.